But that brings us to this Missouri game. And this Missouri game is really, really, really important. And let's talk about why. Okay. Missouri is this week. You can make an argument that it is the easiest game left on our schedule.
That's a problem.
If you lose this game, the bye week is next week, right? So we have the hangover of losing 2 in a row and wondering, are we going to win another game the rest of this season? What even is this team? Things could start falling apart. The week after the bye week is Tennessee, and we know how that goes.
Problem.
Then after Tennessee, we go to Starkville, we go to Mississippi State, where we haven't won in over 10 years. I know they're not very good, but still, at Starkville, we don't play football well there. And then after that, so you could lose all those games. You could lose Missouri. You could lose to Tennessee, certainly. And you could lose in Starkville.
5-4 is what that would be.
Then after Starkville, guess what? You come home, you play Alabama. That is very much a possibility that could be a loss. Then after that, you go to South Carolina, who beat you last year. South Carolina's a tough place to play. And then you go to undefeated Louisville, who just knocked off Notre Dame, who I know it's Louisville, but I mean, they could still beat you. So, Caden, if you lose to Missouri, especially with team morale and everything, there's a real possibility that you don't win a game for the rest of the season. Now, would that be kind of crazy if that happened? Yeah. But is it insane that it could happen? Is it not realistic? Speaking of realistic, no. I mean, that is a distinct possibility. I mean, it's not crazy to say that could happen.
It could be anywhere from 5-7 to 10-2. Honestly,
it could. I mean, we could go win out. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we won out, to be honest with you. I mean, I would be a little bit. I'd be surprised if we didn't lose at least one game. But so I think you're right, Caden. Probably 10-2 is probably rationally the best that we could do. But even though technically 11-1 is the best we could do, I think rationally probably 10-2, or we could be 5-7.
I'm kind of thinking 8-4, but with you saying all this, I could almost see 7-5.
Yeah, I mean it's not crazy at all. So then we get into the other side of the importance of this game, and that's related to Mark Stoops' comments this week, saying that on his radio show that, well, it's legal to buy players now, and Georgia's bought some pretty good ones. So if you want to compete with Georgia, you better pony up. Now, Caden, I was shocked when I first saw that he said that, or saw reports about that. I thought it was made up. I was like, "There's no way Mark Stoops said that." I could see Cal saying something like that, but I was like, "There's no way Mark Stoops said that." Well, he did, and then you got to think, well, I wonder if it was taken out of context. It wasn't. That's verbatim what he said. And Caden, I feel like as a coach, you can't say that, even if our NIL is like not really sufficient to compete with teams like Georgia on the NIL front. Like, that might be true. We might not have as much money as we would like in the NIL funds, but you can't say that after you go get destroyed by Georgia. Like, you can't go lay an egg and then tell the fans to pony up 2 days later. So
yeah, I was talking to Cody the other day, and I was thinking about this, and I feel like, in basketball, it's important to have really good players, but in March Madness, as we've seen, anything can happen. One dude could go off and score like 50 and beat you, even though you have the best players in the country. But with football, I feel like you really need those guys, because there's only 12 games. I feel like it's a lot more revealing if you don't have those guys in football because you usually can't just rely on one single player in football. And I feel like
Right.
defense is way more important in football as well. So I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, I feel like that's a poor excuse of getting beat by 40 to Georgia. Whenever in the past we put up a much better fight when Georgia was probably even better. So
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying, and number one, you can't say that, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of a cop out.
Yeah. It absolutely is. And so if you win this weekend, everybody sort of forgets better, right? If you win, it like doesn't matter. But if you lose, you know what everybody's going to be saying, Caden. What we need to pony up to beat Missouri. Now we need to give you more money so you can beat Missouri. That's going to be all over social media. It is if we. So, and that's the other thing. So you have that going into the bye week. You get Tennessee on the other side of the bye week. Then you go to Mississippi State. Then you got Alabama, and it just snowballs from there. So it's that much even more important that we win this game this weekend. So, and the reason it worries me, Caden, is historically we have been really terrible coming off losses, especially losses to Georgia. I don't know that we have ever won a game following Georgia. It feels like I feel like we always lose two in the row when we play / lose to Georgia. So, big game this weekend. So we've got a we can't let one loss turn into two.